set up equations and solve for unknown side of this triangle. These triangles are, just reminder, these triangles are supposed to be right triangles, 90 degrees. When you have right triangles, you can write relation between their segments, knowing that always opposite to 90 degrees called hypotenuse. Opposite to 90 degrees, hypotenuse. And then there's opposite and adjacent. Any angle that you pick, in this case, we can pick this angle. Opposite to that, when we say opposite to that angle is this segment, which is y. It's right against across, it's opposite. And when we say adjacent, it's right next to it. It's like, in this case, it's 18, whatever the unit is, centimeter, inches, or whatever. So for this triangle, if we pick this angle and we say opposite to that is A, and adjacent to that is B, right? So, but the relations is very important to know the relation, memorize the relation. When we say sine of, I'm going to write the formula. I'll pick a triangle. Let's say this triangle, that's 90 degrees. And if this is A, that's a nice 90 degrees. If this is A, this is B, let's say this is C. Sine of this angle, let's put alpha. Sine of alpha is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine of alpha is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So these are things that you need to remember. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent to hypotenuse. And tan of alpha is equal to opposite over adjacent. This doesn't have hypotenuse. So these three things needs to be memorized. That's one, that's two, that's three. So now we're going to use this to find the unknowns for this triangle. So we have this angle 61 degrees. Let's say I want to find, I don't want to pick random formulas. I want to find y. So this variable. So I want to know how much y is. And then in this case, I don't have x, I just have 18. And then you see I have opposite of 61. I know I want to find opposite of 61, opposite, and I know adjacent. So there is only opposite and adjacent involved. The one that opposite and adjacent involved is tangent. Opposite over adjacent. So I can say tan of 61. So I can say tan of 61 is equal to y divided by 18. And then cross multiply it and find it. Tan of 18, you can use calculator to find it. Cool? Or let's say you want to find x. This. You want to find x. And then let's say you don't know y at this point still. You just have 18, this one. And then you have 18, you have this quantity, and you want to find x, this. 18 is the adjacent to 61 degrees. So this is the angle I pick, 61 degrees. So adjacent is next to it, which is 18, and hypotenuse that one. So the only two things that I know is hypotenuse, which is this one, and adjacent to that, which is 18. So which one is adjacent and hypotenuse involved? It's cosine, right? So it's this. So then I'm going to say cosine of 61 degrees is equal to adjacent, which is 18, divided by hypotenuse, which is x. I'm going to find, so I'm going to find cosine of 61 and cross multiply it and find x. Got it? So let's do this one. And then we can solve them. I'll explain this one, then we can even go back and solve them. Now this one, I have this angle 20 degree. I had purpose to draw this triangle in slant form. So it doesn't matter which angle you have. You have this angle 20 degrees, this one, or you have this one. I can pick any angle. If you want to pick this angle, you can solve it. You know, some of the angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. So one of them is 20, the other one is 90. If you add them, it's going to be 110. If you subtract from 180 minus 110, you get 70. So this is 70. Or you can pick 70 as an angle and do it. Doesn't matter. I'll pick this 20 still. So I have 20, and I want to, let's say, find B, this. This is adjacent to 20. Agree? So adjacent to 20, and I have opposite to 90 degrees is this one, hypotenuse. I have this quantity, and I want to find this adjacent. This is the adjacent. Remember, this is the adjacent for 20-degree angle. If I want to work with 70-degree angle, this is not, B is not the adjacent anymore for that. It's going to be it's going to be opposite to that. Cool? So, but I don't care about 70. I just put it to show you there's another way of doing it also. So I'll pick this angle 20, and then what's involved here? Adjacent and hypotenuse. So which one is adjacent and hypotenuse involved? Cosine again. So it's going to be cosine of 20 degrees equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is what? B divided by hypotenuse, which is 65. So we're going to use calculator to find cosine of 20 degrees. Let's do that. So hopefully, yeah, cosine of 20 degrees. Cosine of 20 is equal to 0.94. That's 0.94. I'm rounding to second to hundredths place. Is equal to B divided by 65. So if you cross multiply, you put this over 1. 1 times B is going to be B equal to 65 times, that's 65. 65 times 0.94. Let's do that. That times 65. You're going to get 61.08. 61.08. That's B. So B, we got this number, this value is 61.08. Now let's say we want to find A, this one, this leg. These are the legs. A and B are called legs of right triangle. When you're using sine and cosine and tangent, that applies only for right triangles. Not isosceles, not equilateral or scalene. So now you want to find A. Again, I'm going to consider this angle 20 degrees. So this is the angle, and I want to find A that's opposite to 20 degrees. And I have hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse, which one is that? Is this opposite and hypotenuse, opposite over hypotenuse. So sine is going to be sine of 20 is equal to opposite, which is A, over 65. Now I'm going to find sine of 20 and then cross multiply to find A. So sine of, let's get rid of this. Sine of 20 degrees is equal to 0.34. 0.34 equal to A divided by 65. Put over 1 and cross multiply. 1 times A is equal to 8, equal to 65 times 0.34. So I'm going to multiply that by 65, and I'm going to get 22.23. That's 22.23. That's A. So this is going to be equal to 22.20. That's 3. 22.23. So one last thing I want to make sure you know it is when you're using calculator to find sine of an angle, make sure your calculator is set on degrees. When you have degrees, see, this is 20 degrees. Later on, you're going to see radian. Maybe even in some courses, you might see grad. You're not pretty much involved sometimes. In case if you did, there's 3 units of radian, grad, and degrees. Mostly you're going to deal with degrees and radian. So when the sign, your circle, you have its degrees, and your calculator has to be on degrees to find sine of 20 degrees, not 20, for example, radian. That's going to give you a different answer. So that's it.